Welcome to Hoop of the Song, Season 5, Episode 46, where we watch The Bridge, Season 1, Episode 1. I'm the host, Chris Lorenz.
This is Noah Singer.
This is Brian.
Robert Kitts.
This is James McSavoy.
If this is your first time listening, we watch a different reality show each week, discuss it in minute detail, rate it, critique it, trash it, whatever we want, whatever you want us to do. That's what we do. Rob, what show do we watch this week?
With over 100,000 pounds at stake, 12 strangers come together on the banks of a picturesque lake in the British countryside and have just 20 days to build an 850-foot bridge by hand in the ultimate test of teamwork and trust. That's The Bridge on HBO Max.
Yeah, so this, I guess, is seemingly an HBO Max original, but a BBC original probably as well. Some sort of UK channel is probably the one, and HBO. Anyway, it's somewhat, the show feels like it's got like a Survivor aspect to it. At least that's what they try to put for us in this episode, where they're like, well, there's going to be a vote at the end. But the people on the show don't know there's going to be a vote. So it's very odd. So there's 12 people. They get put on this like camp structure and are told, hey, make a bridge from here to here. So you'll win 100,000 pounds, or one person will win 100,000. That's the only information that they're really given, at least from what we can tell. So they pick a team leader and they start trying to make this bridge. They cut some wood. They make one bridge pattern this whole episode, and there's like a couple that's been made, and that's early. That's about it. That's kind of, you can boil this thing down to 10 seconds, really.
I think it's a cool concept. I've never seen a 20-day long challenge before.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is they're in the Great British Wilderness, as they called it, in the Welsh Mountains on the biggest lake in Wales. They have 20 days to build this bridge. Do you realistically, if it was 12 of our closest friends, do you think we could have built this bridge 840 feet?
No.
No, it seems very hard.
Yeah, I like, so we'll step into this. So they made like a 6 foot by 6 foot section of this bridge. And I looked at it, I'm like, there's no way you're going to make that kind of bridge in 20 days, 840 feet. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, like it definitely what they built. It's like, so you're going to build, like 150 pieces of that. And it's like, no, no way.
I think that you could probably define a different structure where you use like maybe 6 to 8 pieces of wood to get 6 feet instead of, I don't know how many pieces of wood. They use like 40 pieces of wood to go.
It was super big. It was half as wide.
Like very excessive amount of wood.
I'm sure they will figure it out at some point.
They have to. Like, they're going to start doing the math and be like, no way we have any shot in hell. They got to make it much more narrow, so it takes very few pieces of wood to get the length.
I am curious if it has something to do with like the level of buoyancy you get from each platform.
There's definitely sections where I think you'll need to have more of a buoyant platform, but you don't need a buoyant platform all 850 feet.
Yeah.
But maybe your first one has to be extra buoyant, to get you off on the right foot.
Yeah, the one right next to the land. Yeah, that seems exactly where you want.
Maybe the thing is that's the one that you push out, and you just keep, as you build pieces, you extend out.
As you build some 3 foot pieces, or 3 like long pieces, then yeah. But that just doesn't seem to be what they're doing.
So the show did a very nice like graphic in your face at the end of being like, so they have 20 days to go to 850 feet, and the graphic says 18 days left, 844 feet to go. So they're on pace to have like 60 feet.
Also, it was a good burn.
Yeah.
It was a very solid burn.
But there's also it's like the show and the way that the show ended with this sort of people going off to get more tools and the next time on, like I feel like we're set up for lots of twists. I feel like it's the show seemed to have this premise of this is this very simple thing of we got 12 people, you got 20 days, build the damn bridge, that's the whole show. And I don't think that's what the show is actually going to be. I feel like that's what this first episode set up. And now so we have no idea how they're going to build this bridge because it's going to be like, oh, by the way, you can now complete a side challenge and you're going to get like bridge cement or I don't know what you'd get to help you build a bridge. But like it's going to totally change.
Yeah, I think that the show of get 12 people and they know what the challenge is and they come in and they're just going and doing it, that would be interesting. Maybe not for like 8 episodes or so or however many, like a couple episodes. But this show is not that. It's all about like people fighting about who's the leader, who's not the leader, and a bunch of drama about all the people that we like on this like this shore, and it's very haphazard and scattered. There's no like structure to it. I think that it's a little off-putting in terms of like the drama associated with this show.
I don't think they argued that much about who the leader is. They all wanted the male stripper to be the leader.
Okay, we gotta talk about this immediately.
What
They
do
choose a
we-
leader and they choose the 26-year-old stripper. Like, how? How is that the guy you choose?
'Cause he's the one with the most confidence.
Because he's tall.
Yeah.
You choose
They
the tall
also-
person as your leader. That's how it works.
You know,
They also gave 2 choices, which I was surprised. Like only one other guy ran against him.
And it was the 20-year-old like clown. Do you want the 20-year-old clown, Max, or do you want the 26-year-old stripper?
Tell you what though, that clown, he can put the balloons together. I feel like there's a lot of overlap with the bridge.
All right. Yeah. Let's get back to Rob's point about how like this show, like when they did the opening intro, the show made it seem like they're making this bridge. Like the whole show is not like, will they or won't they? It's like, who's going to win this 100,000 pounds? It's not a, will no one win the 100,000 pounds? It's who's going to win the 100,000 pounds. So it's like, I don't even feel like they're gonna not do it.
Let's talk about one of our least favorite reality show innovations of the past year, the pre-show this season on. And
So
this
bad.
was like, oftentimes, Chris, we talk about, we don't like this because it's just, we don't know who these characters are. They're showing stuff. This one I feel like was a spoiler alert. Like,
Oh yeah.
it basically showed the bridge mostly done. I thought it showed someone actually at the money. It's like, I guess they're gonna finish the bridge. Like, what?
But like, yeah, I do think that might be a little of a red herring. I don't know.
It could be a red herring. If it's a red herring, I give them kind of credit for that. But I feel like it's just it does. I don't think the show is, are they going to finish the bridge? It's like the producers are going to make sure they finish the bridge, and it's about the drama of how they decide who's the only person who actually gets the money.
No, definitely. I mean, that's how the show feels to me as I watch it. And as James McAvoy, which we're going to get into, is narrating this. The tone of the show isn't, they're like, oh my God, they're running out of time. It's like James McAvoy's calmly telling us that, oh, they've made 6 feet and they need 850 more feet. They really need to start moving. But it's not, there's no like, it doesn't feel dire. Like, oh, well, no one's going to win this money.
That's just a British thing, though.
It could be.
James McAvoy has the stiff upper lip, you know?
I have a question about this whole like them completing the bridge. So I don't think they would ever make a show like this where that doesn't happen, right? Like they wouldn't make the show and then they just never reach the end.
Well, the thing is, I also don't think you have a season 2 of this show, because like then people are just gonna be like, I'm gonna prep bridge making skills and stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Well, no, you just sign up. You just sign up like they sign up this time, where they don't know what their show is. You're like,
Yeah.
surprise! You're on the 2nd season of The Bridge.
I can't
But-
believe anybody does that.
I mean, you could
Like,
also make like a different challenge. Like maybe
Yeah.
they need to make a vertical structure. You know?
That's exactly what I was thinking. No, season 2, it's up on a cliff, and you gotta build the tower up to the cliff.
No way. Are you trusting people to make their own bridge and doing something where they bump into the deck? Like, why?
I think no, Rob. I think season 2 is make your own like rare earth mineral mine in like Africa somewhere. Just some like thing that people actually need.
Make your own blood diamond operation.
And your prize is some blood diamonds.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Prize is a stake in the Blood Diamond Company.
did we hear them say, like, when they opened up the note that they had 20 days, or did they bolt this 20 days on afterwards when they found out it took them 20 days?
That's a great question.
That's a good point, Max. So like let's get into this section for a second. So they're all at this beach. We'll get into the people a little bit, but like then this flare goes off and we find out that they need to get to the boat where the flare pointed to in 15 minutes or the message like explodes or goes on fire or something. I feel that that's a lie, but
They
that's
said
what
it
they
expires.
that's what they said.
Yeah, it was very unclear how that actually happens because it's just a piece of paper in a crate.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
agree
just
with
the
you.
rules. The ref says, no, you can't touch it anymore.
Is that like a ref that just jumps out of somewhere
Yeah.
with like
Yeah,
a whistle?
The NFL ref comes out from the woods, blows a whistle, takes the box away. So they don't know what their challenge is. And we go and like it's so stupid. Just asinine. So like they to go to this beach, they don't even know what they're trying to do. And then James McAvoy's telling us, oh, they have to get to this thing in 15 minutes to find out what their challenge is. What producers, what are you going to do if they don't get there in 15 minutes and bring it back? What's going to happen? You're not going to tell them what they're going to fucking do? Like, what? Like, well, you're so stupid. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
The tower's gonna fucking explode.
Yeah, the first one where it sets the premise of the show, it's just like, come on.
I want to see that version of the show, though. I want to see season 2. They don't get the first note. It's just like, what the hell are we doing?
I want to see them not get a note, and I want to see that thing explode or like just like catch on fire.
No, it's like Mission Impossible. Just there's a little puff of smoke and it's just gone. Like it doesn't actually explode.
When they
Oh,
first
no, no.
revealed the flare elements, I thought all the contestants had to race to get to the note, and just the person who got there first would get to read it. Like I thought it was going to be like, one of the secret messages in Survivor.
I think that's definitely the show is earing more towards like social survivor game here. But first episode, not too much. They like teased on the next time on that somebody has like a secret, and it probably comes from like the flare or this mission, which we'll talk about I think in a bit. But yeah, the flare thing is very stupid. Should we get into some of these people maybe?
Yeah.
We can talk about I got them written down. Tara, she's 39, she's a waitress, and her sob story is she got COVID and had to go to the hospital.
And went
He's
viral.
going to die, Chris. It went viral.
It was a sob story, Max. It was sad. She
Her
got
sob
COVID.
story went viral on the internet, Chris.
Hashtag viral.
Her viral video of her viral infection went viral.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian, you should note that down for our show description.
It was a very good sob story. Like, I feel like calling it a sob story kind of
But I'm just
underpins it a little bit.
dude, it's been a whole year my sympathy, it shouldn't be, but it is down. I'm sorry. It's just not the tone of the show I really want right now. Maybe in like a year from now, if you told me you had COVID, I'll have more sympathy with you. But in the middle of this, it's just
Yeah, it's really off the mark, I feel. Just in terms of like what people want to watch.
yeah.
Who else do we got, Chris?
We got Zach, 26. He's a dancer. Rob, what kind of dancer is Zach?
He's a male stripper.
And an acrobat.
What did Sly call him again?
Yo, boy.
Dream boy.
A dream boy, yeah.
He's a dream boy.
He's also a member of the boy band group of Zach, Luke, and Rowan, which we'll get to the other.
The boy band group In Sync.
Yeah, so he's the leader. He's the one getting like let's talk a little bit about his leadership skills here. So he has there's 3 people like cooking meals because they have to cook by hand. That's fine. And then the rest of the 9 people are out cutting wood and like chopping down trees, and like they have so much bridge to make. The women can be like sewing, like wrapping the pieces of wood and rope and getting all that stuff ready. Like they're just not going to be that fast at cutting the wood. I just don't understand why everyone is cutting wood. Can anyone explain that to me?
I think it makes sense on the first day. Like you don't know what rate you're going to be using that wood, and you have to just figure out that ratio of woodcutters to bridge assemblers.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely like. I think getting things started, like getting people in the move, like while you're figuring out your design, you already got to be cutting the wood because you know, like that's gonna be a
Well,
bottleneck.
no, there definitely needs to be people cutting the wood. I never said that. All the guys need to be out cutting wood. And one person or like a couple people need to be starting this bridge immediately. They need to be like, okay, here's some wood. Let's put this stuff together. See what we got. How are we going to do this?
Mhm.
And then, the next day you can start amping faster and faster. And maybe you catch up to the wood. Then all of you cut wood until you run out of wood. Like it doesn't make sense to have all these women cutting wood at a quarter of the rate and no one's making any bridges.
Yeah. They definitely don't have like a good assembly line. It's like they can only think linearly. And it's like, okay, we're at step 1. Everyone do step 1.
And even when they were doing step 2, it was unclear. It seemed like a lot of people were involved in step 2, and they used a lot of wood and a lot of rope. I'd love to see them they were actually given a lot of rope. This challenge
Yeah.
would be a lot harder without any of that rope.
Oh,
That
that
would be
would be
impossible.
Yeah.
There was like one of the machines that they showed when they got to the place, and I totally thought that they were gonna have to like spin their own like rope.
All right, we have a
I think that would be
6-month reality show here.
Yeah, spin your own rope in 20 days.
I have no idea what that thing was then.
I think it was like it looked like almost like a pasta roller, but it was much
No,
bigger.
it was for drying clothes.
Oh yeah, laundry stuff. They showed there was
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
school by hand laundry stuff. That's right.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's get back to these people. So we got Sly.
Oh,
He's
Sly.
60. He's a car fabricator. He's the oldest one on the show by far. And he claims to know what he's doing, but then hates everyone and goes in the kitchen the first day to spite everyone or like wait for people to need him or something is what they imply on the show.
Well,
Yeah.
And the second day he goes out and is helping people learn how to cut wood is what we see.
Well, yes, Sly is the kind of person who he feels he knows what he's doing, has a lot of the advice, and he wants everyone to sort of treat him very respectfully and be like, "Oh yes, thank you, Sly. You know the best. We want to do exactly what you say." And when people don't respond that way, he just like, "Well, fine. I'm not going to help you at all."
Well, I think it's a bit mixed, right? Because he started off with it's like, okay, this is my domain. He's like drawing some schematics, and people just kind of like brushed him aside. And so I think it's unclear if they didn't do that at first, he would have the same demeanor.
That's so crappy because like I feel like if somebody in your crew like can really help kick this thing off, like that's just helping you get further. Like, why would you not want to take their advice?
Because he's like a crotchety old man. Like he's not willing to help Brian. Like
No,
unless
he
you're
was willing
going,
to help. I think it was because of like the dismissal that like he was just like, fuck this.
But like,
And
obviously, it's been edited and stuff, so it's like, how much was Sly just kind of an annoying person in the lead up to this and the rollout of his plan? And that's why it got like we don't know the whole story of how it kind of happened, but like I can see I can see both. I can see people were just a jerk to Sly for no reason and he responded this way. I can see Sly was just kind of a jerk because that's just who he is, and he kind of put people off, and that's sort of leading to some of this. But like, it does seem like he knows that, like, there's a question of like, was this plan actually good, or like was it way too complicated for what they're trying to talk about? But he does seem like knows the most about what needs to go here, and they should be listening to him, even if he's a crotchety old man.
Yeah, he was talking about putting supports on this thing, and I'm like,
He said the word scaffolding, and I'm like, you're putting up some scaffolding with your just giant tree logs and handsaws in the middle of the woods.
like,
Maybe your definition of scaffolding is different than what I'm picturing in my head, but this sounds unrealistic.
yeah, if you're making like a permanent bridge, sure, you gotta put stuff in the water, you gotta cement, but not if you're just trying to go 850 feet once.
So what are the rules of this? Like, if I just took logs, I just started putting logs in the water, and I just tried to line them up, and they didn't actually connect, but I just tried to walk across the logs. Like, do I win the prize? Does that count?
Yeah, I think that if you did
yeah.
a 1-1-1, and you just walked there, what I want to know is, say you have 3 pieces of logs, and you just when you walk
Just keep
past the
walking
first one,
out.
you put it in front of the next one, and you just keep doing that to get there.
That I want to see the person who you think can do that. It's gonna be
Yeah.
so heavy.
I mean, you could do that with platforms, but in any case, I'm sure they have the ref there saying, "Nope, no."
I'm just picturing the NFL ref coming out there, or maybe it should be a soccer ref with his yellow card.
I actually want like the Indian matchmaking screen to come out to be like, let's go over what the rules of this bridge are, and just put it up on the screen and be real sarcastic about it. Like that's what we need here.
What is this bridge's wants and what are its needs?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like the bridge rules are probably fungible in terms of they're not going to do it in 20 days, so they need to be a little more liberal with their bridge rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've already identified that the way the game is structured today, it's going to have a lot of twists and turns, especially what they showed in the coming episode, that they're going to offer them some money to cheat, new people are going to come in. They're going to throw in a lot of surprises.
Yeah. Let's talk about our next contestant, Billy. She's 30. She's a publicist, and her mom is a famous British TV host of some show called The Trisha Show.
Yeah.
I don't know what The Trisha Show is, but it seemed like a Maury-esque show.
They mentioned Maury at some point.
Yeah.
Her thing is, her and Sly don't get along at all. Anytime Sly's like, hey, we're not going fast enough, somehow these two get in a fight, and Sly needs to leave. It's edited very poorly that I have no idea what happens, but that's what always happens.
Mm-hmm.
So she's at some point, people think if you're the daughter of a celebrity, your life is easy, but that's not true. Does she ever elaborate on what she means by that?
She was arrested once, Rob.
Oh, was
It was very traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
What was she arrested for?
She was double the speed limit.
She didn't say.
She didn't say.
She was arrested for
They
being a child
do kind of.
pornography.
Yeah, they do tee up her character to be like, you don't know how hard my life is.
Yeah. They have to tee up a reason for them to try to win, or you for to root for her to win the $1 million, or she needs to try to get some sympathy because she was a bratty daughter, probably. I don't know. It's very unclear why her life was so hard.
It is just one correction, Chris. 100,000 pounds does not equal $1 million.
Did I say $1 million?
Yes.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I didn't mean to say $1 million. Everyone knows. The audience knows.
Maybe
Everyone's
the
listening.
twist is it actually turns out to be $1 million. You don't know.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just go in and edit myself saying $100,000. Now you'll sound like a fool. Let's talk about our next contestant. We got Rowan. He's 20. He's a graduate of high school. He's unicycle broke, and he'd like to buy a new unicycle.
This dude sucks ass.
And
Yeah.
he's a masterful liar. He's
Yeah.
a self-claimed masterful liar. So he's ready to play this game, and he's ready to win. Rob, do you believe in this guy?
The self-proclaimed professional clown. I'm not sure I believe in this guy.
He is also part of the boy band. So that this really cements his place in the group.
Do you think the boy band alliance is going to sing a song at some point to really cement themselves as the boy band?
They gotta dance though. It can't just be them singing.
I mean, we all know Zach can dance. That's what I've heard anyway.
Well, there was a point where I think at least 3 of them were going in the hot. There's a hot tub of some sort. They were going to go in this hot tub, and then the flare went off, and then they couldn't go in the hot tub. Unclear.
And they were in a good position because they already had bathing suits on.
I thought that was just their boxers. Anyway,
I think it was actually one of these like I've seen a hot tub where it's wood powered. Like you have to burn wood in a compartment underneath to get it hot. And it's because this like the premise there's no electricity, everything's by hand. So I bet it's a wood powered hot tub, which is interesting.
If you chop some extra wood, then you get some hot tub time.
the
That's
thing
why
is
Zach
that
wants to chop so much wood. It's like I need it for the hot tub.
there was a bunch of chopped wood already. It seemed for fires, so they didn't need to chop wood for that. It was
Yeah.
unclear.
They this probably isn't gonna get you too far, but they had all this pre-chopped wood for the fire, which to me, I'm like, that's wood to start making the bridge.
I don't know. You don't want to
That's
use
like-
those small cuts of wood though. You want some long cuts. I don't know why they didn't just start chopping down trees and then just making like a 50-foot long one, but that would be hard to like maneuver
Ooh.
probably.
But then you can use the firewood as like planks.
You
and
could do
it's
that.
long.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about is it Moira?
Mora.
Mora. She's
It's not Schitt's Creek.
sorry. She's 20. She's a hotel entertainer, and her claim is that she's from Ireland.
Okay. What is a
claim?
hotel entertainer?
Yes, her claim. Max,
What is a hotel entertainer?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The 2 options I can think of are she's the lady who plays piano in the hotel restaurant, or she's a call girl, and that's a fun.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Maybe. Yeah. It was interesting because they put that on the show like several times to make sure we know that Mora is a hotel entertainer.
Okay, based on when you Google hotel entertainer, I think it's like a hotel that's like a resort that has like activities you do. You help lead some of the activities, and so you're
Okay,
doing things
okay.
with the tourists and
You
stuff.
take them on like tours of the Irish Isles.
Maybe she walks around in like a Minnie Mouse costume. Maybe she's at Disneyland.
Maybe.
Disneyland, Ireland.
The only thing that's interesting about her is that she starts kind of in a relationship with Luke, and she's sent on this mission. Rob, can you explain this mission to us? Let's dig into this.
So leader Zach gets a flare note that says he has 50 minutes to pick 2 people to go on an overnight mission that will allow them to bring back tools and supplies to help them build the bridge. And so it seems like this is pretty important to help them, make more progress on the bridge. And his thought is, overnight mission, huh? Well, let me send the 2 people that are kind of in a couple because it's overnight. That sounds fun. And it's like, what are you doing, man? You need to think about how you're going to build this freaking bridge.
Yeah, I believe Billy was very upset that the group was not consulted at all on who should go on this mission.
And the note was very clear. It was Zach's call. And Zach is like, I don't need 15 minutes. I've made the call.
And I like
Y'all
before when he's introducing himself, he's like, I'm going to be democratic. We'll get everyone's participation. Cut 10 minutes later. I can make this call in 15 minutes, like immediately.
It was like, it seemed like both of them were embarrassed that they weren't called out to go too. So
interesting thing about this is so we have confessionals of people saying how Luke and Mora are getting close. And we have this thing where, they get sent on the mission together. And everyone's like, oh, of course. We don't see them interact like at all. Like,
Nope.
why don't we get to
I was
see
like, what is this happening?
them
There's
like
there's a
hanging out
relationship?
and getting close? Like, it's an odd editing choice.
Maybe they're just really good at getting away from the cameraman. You know?
Maybe.
No, they're not. They have cameras everywhere.
Well, so let's in the camera aspect. When you're on Survivor, every single person on Survivor has a cameraman. Like everyone, you're always being followed. There's no way around the cameras. Do you think that everyone here has a camera? I don't think so.
No. No, I just think they put GoPros everywhere. That's it.
Yeah, so that's easy. You find those if you want to. You want to make out with a nice, lovely lady? I'm sure you can find a spot where there's no cameras.
Yeah, like it's interesting because this show, the cinematography is very good. Like compared to other reality shows, this is like leaps and bounds.
Oh
better.
yeah, this is gorgeous.
The editing, though, to his point, the story editing, very patchy. Right, like you're not really sure. Like they just like are literally telling you the story rather than showing you and you picking up the story.
Yeah, I could say the tone of the show is terrible. It's like a flat documentary, and you're like, what am I watching? Like, are we watching, a documentary in like World War I right now? Like, why are we like serene shots here and just like flat out telling us stuff and like James McAvoy just mumbling? I'm just so confused.
I kind of like the tone. I like. There's this thing about the show. There's two shows here. There's the sort of stripped down 12 people got to build a bridge. You build the bridge, you get the money show, and that show aligns very well with a serene sort of documentary kind of calm. I think James McAvoy. Well, we talk more about James McAvoy. When we talk about those, but like I think he's bringing good stuff to the table there. But then there's the fact that like that's probably not the show that this is. This is some drama, twists, relationship stuff show, and that feels jarring.
I agree. Maybe the tone would be better if it was like moving. It's just like not moving. There's not a lot of. I don't really see a lot of bridge making, and I want to see some bridge making.
Maybe you gotta watch another episode.
Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Let's talk briefly about the rest of the contestants. Let's talk about Luke, the other half of this relationship. He's 26 and he's a plumber, and that's all we know about him.
Good for him.
And he likes Mora.
And he's in the boy band group, right? He's the third guy.
He's a third boy band member. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a 98 Degrees kind of boy band with 3 people.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if those are 3 people or not, but I think we got Julie. She's 28. She's a junior fashion designer.
Junior.
That's all I know about her.
I think that's really gonna come in handy with the bridge build.
She can, she could be good at sewing. She could be good at mending the things together.
I that was not a joke.
Okay, all right. I thought it was a joke. So just clarify.
I also find it odd that on the show they had to specify that she's a junior.
Yeah, that's like junior.
Why?
You can't just throw out the title of fashion designer willy-nilly, Noah. That is a prestigious earned title.
What if she only designs clothes for kids? Like junior fashion.
I don't think that's it, but I hope it is.
Could be. Max solved it.
All right, let's move on to Sarah. She's 44, and I wrote down business. I don't know what her thing was.
Yeah, they said she's a business owner and an ex-military chef. So she was preparing some of the foods during the show.
Okay, there we go. And Dominique, 21. She's a politics student. That's all we know about her.
She
And that's all
provided some commentary during the show, and that's about it.
Yeah. And those are 9 people. the other three people didn't get any of their names. So they weren't really introduced on this episode of the show. Which, in their defense, I think that introducing 9 people in one episode of TV is very reasonable. 12 people can get it's a lot.
Sure. Yeah. I'd buy that.
All right, Rob, we've been tipping it over a little bit. Let's talk about James McAvoy.
Yeah.
TSM.
Max, can you do James McAvoy saying the word bridge?
Bridge.
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
So this is one of these, like, James McAvoy is not credited as the host. He is the narrator. So you don't see James McAvoy. He's just doing voiceover, and he's got the thick British accent, or I don't know if it's British or Scottish, but
Sounds Scottish.
sounds Scottish.
And his last name is McAvoy.
Yes. That is stereotypically Scottish. You're right. And I think I like it. I like the way he's doing it. I like his kind of, serene, very Scottish pronunciation and the way he's kind of talking about things. I think he's adding to the show, and he's unlike sort of the disembodied Amazon Alexa narrators we see in like the Netflix shows. I feel like this is pretty good.
Yeah. Actually, wasn't he in The Last King of Scotland?
I believe so. That's the one with Whitaker. Is that
Yeah.
right? Forrest Whitaker.
Oh yeah, I never saw it, so I don't know. But sure.
So James McAvoy as Charles Xavier, right? In the better,
Yes.
Yes, he has a very different accent in that.
yeah, in the better X-Men movies. Well, not better, just some more of my favorite.
Some are better, some are not better. Like, he's in a lot of X-Men movies.
Mhm.
Oh, well, I mean, Patrick Stewart is the other one. Charles Xavier, right?
Yeah.
He was good. He's good too. Both of them are good. Don't tweet at me, okay? I say they're both good. Leave me alone. What else? Has he been in anything else?
He was in Wanted.
Oh yeah.
That's how he first became someone whose name I knew.
Yeah, he was. I'm looking at his IMDb now. But like, Atonement was very big. That definitely got him a little bump.
I don't know if I'd say Atonement was very big.
Oh, he's in
was-
the Unbreakable cinematic universe.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mhm.
He's the
He's split.
other Unbreakable guy.
Split.
Split.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure he's adding a whole lot to this show. At least in episode 1, to be honest with you.
He's
He's
a
like-
perfectly fine choice.
He's like setting the tone, and I'm not a huge fan of the tone. And if you like the tone, you'll like him. I think this is really where it's at. But to your point that you brought up, Rob, is that like there's two shows fighting here. There's the Build a Bridge show, and then there's the catty somewhat catty drama around who's doing what, who's banging who, like kind of stuff that's going on that they're not doing a good job of editing and showing to me.
Right.
I think that's the biggest weakness of this show.
Chris, he's also Lord Azrael.
Oh. Anyone have any other minutia they want to get to before questions? Because this episode ends where they go do this challenge. We don't know if they get through the challenge or not.
I do have one thing I wanted to talk about. So they were going on about how when first explaining the rules, they said, you can't sail there, you can't swim there, you have to walk to the island. And my initial thought was like, how can I get around these rules? And I started thinking like, Zelda 64 iron boots underwater, you can walk to the island. That's how I'd do it.
Yeah, but what if you just hop on a raft and the raft just ends up getting you there? Like,
That's sailing there. That's clear. That's
you
a clear
didn't
violation.
sail, the thing just moved. What if it eventually just gets you there?
I think that's a clear violation.
I mean, obviously it's a clear violation, but
What if
didn't
you
you just
did some-
walked?
What if you shot an arrow with a rope and then you roped your way across?
I think that would be a bridge, right? Like, I think you
Oh.
need 2 ropes though. You need like a top rope and a
Oh
bottom rope.
yeah. One of those. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
But for 850 feet, whew.
you gotta have a real strong archer. Zach could do it. Zach pulls back with the.
No,
he could send
you
them-
don't even need, bro. You don't even need to do that. You can
swim it over
canoe
and tie it
there, put the rope there, and then canoe back. You just have to from shore walk there. It's not like people still canoe in the show, right?
There
It's
we
not
go.
saying you couldn't get to the island. Just like in order to win the money, you've got to walk there.
We've got Chris. You and I. We can get this money. Let's go.
Yeah,
Do it.
we could how many is it the quickest? Just the two of us would just go. We go on
think
the other
so.
side of the island and we start our own bridge. Screw your bridge.
But then would they vote us to win the money if we didn't let them have our bridge?
They really need to this show. I think would be next level with 2 teams. Really needs to be 2 teams. There needs to be some sort of driving factor to get these fucking guys off their asses and get this fucking bridge done.
2 teams, no time limit. It takes as long as it takes.
Yeah.
But one team gets there first.
We need a TJ Lavin out there at the end of the day, be like, you guys are a disaster. Get your shit together. Get this bridge going. You've gone 6 fucking feet in 2 days.
I think they need you out there.
Yeah, I'll be out there. I'll be out there with my rope bridge, getting it done in like 4 days.
Show him, Chris.
I vote you the leader, Chris. Don't worry. I'll choose you over the stripper.
No, I'm just going to be sly and be like, you guys disrespect me. I am not going to be the leader. Not going to try to be the leader.
I mean, I can see it.
Definitely. All right, let's get to questions.
Is this time to bring up minor minutia, or is that coming as a
No,
question?
we'll get to we'll do some minor minutia on this one.
Okay.
Let's get to who's the worst human being?
Rowan.
Yep.
Who?
Rowan,
The dude who
the unicyclist.
Oh yeah, the self-described master liar,
he likes to
masterful
think of
liar.
himself as the main
Uh,
character.
Yeah, the whole main character thing, I don't like that at all.
I agree. I think you're right. If any other contenders?
I mean, I think both Zach and Sly got a lot of screen time, and some things they did well, some things they don't do well. But I think I don't think either of them would take out Rowan just being sort of universally kind of a D bag.
I do think I think Sly gets up on that list just because he can help. He says he can help, and he doesn't. He refuses to help. And the whole goal of this whole thing is to make this bridge. Like, you seem like a huge D bag by not helping, right?
Yeah, it's like we don't know enough of the whole backstory to know. There's a version where Sly is totally in the right and everyone else is wrong, and he's very justified. There's a version where he is totally in the wrong, and probably the real answer is somewhere in the middle. But we don't know enough to really judge.
He just seems like he holds a grudge. But yeah, Rowan's definitely our number one there. Is this the apex downgrade for James McAvoy right here?
I mean, I think it's definitely a downgrade.
I mean, 100% a downgrade. Like, that's not really a question.
Yeah.
But also, like, I think he comes off pretty well, and like he definitely busted. Like, he doesn't have to be there for the actual filming. He busted out in, like, an afternoon and got his paycheck. So it doesn't really look bad on him, but it's a downgrade for sure.
It is a big show. So it wasn't on the BBC. It was on Channel 4, which is similar, So it's like pretty decent. But yeah, definitely not Apex.
Let's do favorite minor minutia since you brought it up, Rob. What do you got for me?
So when they first are when Zach is first describing his life as a stripper and his stripper things, they cut from that to a shot of a bunch of roosters, and I thought the implication there was nice.
Beautiful.
I've got one. So they were introing the whole camp. They're like, everything's got to be done by hand, from cooking to brewing your own beer. And I was like, In what world are you brewing beer in 20 days? Why would you even care about brewing beer in 20 days? You are here to make a bridge.
Well, they didn't know it at that point.
I know. Well, I mean, no one knew. This was
Producer.
the narration telling us.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's not a bad way to use some grain.
Yeah, it's just like the beer you can brew in 20 days isn't going to be very good. It's not going to be done.
Here's a minor minutia. If you control F on James McAvoy's Wikipedia page, there's not a single mention of the word bridge.
Not surprising.
Add it,
Brian,
Max. Add it.
Brian, you have a minor minutia.
So, Zach just got elected team leader. His first action as team leader is to get a chain massage going.
Oh,
a-
yeah.
That's a real bold thing to do as your first action as leader. But of course, he like says with consent, and which I did like. But man,
You know, that's a stripper thing, you know,
You always got to ask for consent, otherwise you don't get paid.
loosen everyone up. Noah, you have a minor minutia.
Yeah, at the beginning of the show, they were doing the character intros. I think it was Sly just saying like, "I'm boxless. You can't put me in a box. I'm boxless." That people can't define him, and I really enjoyed that.
I'm pretty sure that's true. Brian, yeah.
okay. I seriously like let this slide for like everybody. How did nobody not bring up the fake sex sounds? Like
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was saving it for Max.
Oh.
I thought Max was going to do
I
it. So I'm
totally
glad you brought it
forgot
up,
about
Brian.
That was so good. Tell us about it, Brian.
Yeah, so the camera's like panned out. All you just hear are like moans, and it's highly implicated that something's going on, probably between Luke and Mona. But then like it pans to
Yeah.
somebody in the shower with like this cold water, and it's like, okay, that was a really really good prank on us.
That makes up for all the other bad editing.
It's true. It was
Yeah.
pretty good. It was
It carried on for like a decent amount of time.
like
as
enough
well.
that I said it out loud. Is that sex sounds? And then it's like them in a cold shower.
No,
With
can
clothes
you give
on, by
us-
the way.
Can you give us an
Shower
impression
with clothes
of what
on.
he was like?
No, you can.
If tune in after the credits.
Okay.
Does anyone have any cringeworthy or baffling moments they want to talk about? I think that was obviously one of them. All right, let's move on to our next question: drinking rules. I don't have one off the top of my head, so Rob, what do you got for me?
I think every time someone is just chopping a piece of wood, you got to take a drink.
Oh, that's a good one. Max, you have one?
Every time they build a piece of the bridge, take a drink.
Noah, you got one?
It won't be as applicable to this episode, but every time somebody breaks down because they think the challenge is too hard, take a drink.
I think I'm going to use a stock here. Every time they go to a confessional, take a drink. I think that's probably a good one. Brian, you're muted.
I mean, another good one is like the sob story. Like that's one of our standards.
Oh yeah.
I think the hard mode on this one is drink every time someone says bridge. Maybe just if James McAvoy says bridge. It's just like every time bridge, like, oh.
The bridge.
So production schedule. I mean, we know it's roughly 20 days, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a plus or minus a couple
Well,
days in there, probably.
This is the thing. Like, if they have 20 days to get to the money, and we assume they get to the money, it's unclear if how much time there is between they get the money and they do this vote to determine the winner. So theoretically, it could go on, but I can't imagine that's going to go much past.
Well, we already know it's 21 days because they get to the island on one day, and then they have 20 days starting the next day.
Yeah.
I'd imagine 22 maybe days for this. Like the contestants for like the whole setup probably takes a couple weeks to do the setup.
Yeah.
Chop all that firewood, take a while. Let's do what's inspired this show. What are the show's parents?
I mean, clearly Survivor's one of them.
Definitely Survivor for the one aspect of the show. Is like the real world the other? Is it like a combo of both?
I mean, I would say the real world is the parent of Survivor. One of the parents of Survivor,
I mean, kind of.
right? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
But I don't know where this other aspect of the show comes from.
I got kind of a vibe, like the show where they just build the bridge vibe. Like I got kind of a vibe of the show Alone, which we did, where like people are out in the wilderness. There's there's just kind of narrator. There's the words on the screen. Like there's definitely some vibes of that in terms of them going for the like outdoorsy aesthetic vibe.
We have watched a show where in the episode we watched, they build a bridge. It's like some Alaska homesteading show. or
Oh,
something.
yeah. Yeah, I forgot
Pretty
the name of that
recent,
show
like
is.
last 6 months or so.
It's definitely a recent show. COVID, tell ya, it's been a rough year, guys. I need all your sympathy. We've done a lot of these. I'm not sure how much further I can go.
What about the episode of Top Gear where they build a bridge?
What about the FX show The Bridge?
What about Bridge of Spies?
All right, guys. All right.
There are a lot of bridge shows. When I did my initial Googling, I was like, oh boy, these are all incorrect. I had to really like get that query down just right to
The
bring up the
bridge-
results for the show.
British reality TV show.
Yeah.
What about Fast Times at Bridgemont High?
Oh,
All right. Would this show be better as a Quibi? Max, give it to me. What do you think?
I have no opinion.
I think it would be better. I think you drop the drama piece and it's just about the bridge.
No.
But also,
I
then
know
you
you
just have like 30 episodes of people building a bridge.
Yeah.
No, I mean you could easily cut 30 minutes out of this show.
This is not a Quibi show. I think this is very clear. No, not better as a Quibi.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, same page, not a Quibi show. Reason being, one of the highlights of this, as I mentioned before, is the cinematography, these big widescape shots. That's not meant for a Quib.
All right, let's get into our last question, our ratings. We do a stack ranking system where we do top, middle, bottom, third compared to other reality shows. Some people do rankings in their rankings. Noah, why don't you start us off?
This show was a banger. It's going in the top. I'm gonna put it in the middle of the top. What's keeping it from the tip of top is that story editing. Right, like they just kind of threw these plot points at you without much build up, and I think that could be improved. But otherwise, great show. It's 6 episodes, definitely finishing it. So I'm glad we watched it.
Ryan, what do you got for me?
I'm also going to put it in the top. I'm going to put it in the bottom of the top, though. I think it has its flaws, but this is genuinely unique, and I want to see how far they get with this bridge, even though they probably spoiled it for me.
Rob, what do you got for me?
So I'm somewhat torn. As we've been talking about, there's 2 shows. And one show, the just 12 people just got to build a bridge show, is the kind of show I'm really into. It's kind of an off rails. It's not well guided. You kind of don't know where it's going. Maybe they're just going to fail and not build a bridge. How's that a show? And I'm really into those kind of shows. And I feel this episode was more focused on that. I feel like it's going to be less and less of that show as it goes on. I feel like this is a show you watch one episode, you're like, yeah, this is different. This is kind of fun. I like it. And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, that kind of sucked. But I'm going to, based on the one episode I've seen and the show it is, I'm also going to put it at the top. But if I watch more, I feel like it would end up getting downgraded. But I'm gonna stick with that.
Max, what do you got for us?
Top third, bottom of the top. Has potential, a little bit too much drama. I think it'll streamline into the show we want it to be later on, personally.
Interesting.
Yeah, I might have to be the lone dissenter on this one. I'm gonna put it in the middle. I think that the editing is a little weird. The tone isn't the show I want. I want to know what they're doing about the bridge, and I want people to be yelling at them for not doing enough. And I don't care about this relationship. and Sly's weird. Like, I just want people to be making this bridge, and I'm yelling at my TV, and they're not doing it, and it's really frustrating. So it goes in the middle. For that reason, Max, you might be right. By the end of this episode 6, just like them all making the bridge, or it's just like the producers are like, you made it halfway and it's fine. You did it. You get somebody wins. You get the vote. Like, who knows? It could be that. I don't know.
Anything.
The real bridge with the real bridge with the relationships we made along the way.
Oh man, Brian.
Yes, Brian.
I would like if that's how they end the show, Chris. Like, you made the bridge. You did it. It's exactly you said it.
I mean, that's the tone of the show,
You did
right?
it.
Am I wrong? All right. Let's get to shout outs. Noah, do you have a shout out this week?
This week, oh man, I go to someone else. I was not prepared.
Max, do you have a shout out this week?
Come back to me.
All right. A shout out this week. I watched the new show on HBO Max, which I'm also not prepared to give you. I will in a minute. But it is the new show. I am definitely not prepared. Brian, go.
Okay. So I watched episode 2 of the Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and I gotta say, I'm liking it. I'm all in.
Made
How come?
Oh.
Wait, like what's got you in?
Like, it's just a really good, like, feel good story. Also, you get like more Gordon Bombay action.
Brian really loves watching teenage boys on ice.
Well, when you put it like that, now I don't think I'll watch it. Why the hell would you do that to me? I want something uplifting, and you're trying to burn me. But also my secondary show, I was gonna say that, like, we got the subscription to Paramount Plus for a year, and on there I was checking out some of the old Nick Game shows like Legend of the Hidden Temple and Guts. So, like, also watching teenage kids doing sports is maybe not the best.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that after my comment.
Do we need to do Guts on the podcast, Brian?
This would
Aren't
be
those
awesome.
Game shows. I feel like we need to do. What was the kids where they just like had a field day? What was that show called?
Oh fuck.
The Magic School Bus.
No.
No, and
think-
they're all wearing different colored shirts.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I think you are thinking of Guts.
No.
'Cause, like, they participate in
It's-
like Olympic style events.
No. It's just like kids on a field, like doing some team-based games or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Wild and
that's
Crazy
it.
Kids?
That's more. That could be more of a. I don't know. A lot of that's just game showy. Anyway, the show I was trying to say is Made for Love. It is a HBO Max show where a woman, or like there's a couple, and it's like a kind of Black Mirror-esque plot where the husband implants a chip in this woman and can see what she sees, and like sees her and like reads her mind, and she like tries to run. She's like running away from this guy at this point in the show. Happens episode 1. And it's just the plot of the show. But the tone is like kind of women empowerment, and like she's getting away, like in terms of, what is it? It's a good word for it. She's just getting away no matter what. And it's kind of fun to see how she gets away. So I recommend it. 3 episodes are out.
Yeah, I saw episode 1. I enjoyed it. I'm kind of over, like, evil Mark Zuckerberg as a villain, though. Like, it's super played out. But nonetheless, Christina Milioti is always very entertaining.
The second show I'd like to talk about is The Challenge All-Stars. Season 1, even though they already had an All-Stars, this is a new All-Stars. Is on Paramount Plus, as Brian was mentioning. Paramount Plus. There's also a fantasy for the show, fantasychallenge.com or thefantasychallenge.com. Pretty interesting. First episode was essentially the challenge, so if you like it, you'll like it. But it was funny to see, like, they're all 40 plus, so like the first challenge they had to do was like swim out into like this cold water, and like no one could do it. And it's always funny when the challenge producers come up with a challenge that like no one can do, and I feel like that's just going to keep happening. So there you go. Rob, you have a shout out this week?
I'm 4 episodes into Lupin, so I'm almost done with that. I feel like it's actually like the first 2 episodes are better than the next 2 episodes. So I don't know if this is like losing steam or if it like picks up on the 5th. There's only 5, so I'm almost done. But it's definitely a good show. But it's from like months ago, so everyone's already done talking about it.
That's true. I definitely shouted that out. Noah, you ready now?
Yes, I am prepared. I finished WandaVision. Very enjoyable. I would give it a shout out. I'm sure I'm the last person to watch it, but you know, if you haven't watched it, I'd watch it.
Max, we good? No good?
What'd you think about the end of Search Party S1?
Search Party season 1, very, very good. Like, it's like a weird show to get into. It's very different. And then there's just like at some point, you know, the show like hits a point and then it has to zag because fucking crazy shit happens. And then more crazy shit happens and it zigs. So, you know, in the zigzagging is king. It's very cool. Definitely a show worth watching. Rob, I see your favorite shows. Is it back or is it coming back? Your laundry.
It's been back for weeks. I'm not watching.
What?
Okay.
How are you not watching it?
Are we talking about The Masked Singer?
We're talking about the Masked
So
Singer.
there is a Masked Singer spoiler I need to discuss with you guys.
Well, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at it, Max. So
Okay. So there is, you know, a masked singer who is the giant snail. So, you know, the giant snail gets unmasked, and inside is Kermit the Frog.
what?
How does this work? That's not fair. You can't have a fictional character.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Rob,
It's so dumb. I kind of like it.
that's amazing. Rob, why not? What happened? It was you watched it religiously.
As I said, if you listen to the pod when Masked Singer season 4 ended, I was kind of losing some steam on it. And like, you know, Chris, you know, when we watched The Masked Dancer, you were outraged by the fake crowd COVID quarantine situation. And like, I went through a whole season of that. Do I want to go through another whole season of it? I don't know.
I don't know. They might not be doing it. You don't
They're
know.
definitely doing it.
They could have a crowd now. Probably they could. I don't know where they filmed.
They definitely don't have a crowd now.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right.
But like this, I was curious if I didn't watch it, how long would it take me to just like, I'm not trying to avoid spoilers, like how long would it take me to find out someone got unmasked? And the answer was till today.
Till Max told you.
Sorry.
But I'm sure there's like a ton of people that you'll like never know who they were on the show. Like if Pippi Longstocking was on the show, we would never tell you because we wouldn't care. Right?
How did Kermit the Frog get unmasked so soon? He's a good singer. That doesn't kind of make sense.
He was unmasked in season 5, episode 1.
Episode 1. Oh man.
Rough.
Because he was a gimmick.
Rough.
He needed to get out of there at once.
They put him in to get unmasked episode 1, so it would be an exciting reveal for episode 1, I guess.
Yeah. You gotta pull those people, you gotta hook those people. All right. Well, you can find us on Twitter at whobithison. You can find us on Facebook.com/whobithison. You can email us questions and suggestions at whobithison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
So I'm on the Amazon page for You the Jury.
Oh yes.
Wait,
There's
there's an Amazon page?
yes,
The thing
but
would have been just deleted off the internet.
it's not. It's a page. It's like this content is not available in your region, which I don't think it's available in any region.
Yeah.
And then there's one review that's 2 stars, and it just says was not available to view programs. What?
What?
Is that 2 stars?
We should leave a 1-star review and link to our podcast.